Welcome back to the Queens of Commerce. I'm Shannon. Today, we're talking about something every single person in this industry is navigating right now, whether they admit it or not, reinvention. Commerce has always moved fast, but right now it feels like the pace has doubled. AI is everywhere, social commerce is exploding, and retail media keeps evolving. And the skills that made you successful 5 years ago, or even a year ago, might not be the same skills that matter today.
Exactly. If you've worked in commerce for a while, you've probably already reinvented your career multiple times without even changing companies or maybe not even realizing it. We started in e-commerce and then we started in omnichannel, and now we're operating in what most people call connected commerce, where retail, media, creators, data, and platforms are all working together. But the question that leaders are asking right now is, how do I stay relevant when the rules keep changing? Because new AI tools are launching every single week. New commerce capabilities are constantly coming out. Today, what we really want to talk about is how leaders do reinvent themselves in this industry without creating burnout and trying to trace every single trend. And how do really AI and social commerce reshape how growth is actually going to happen in the commerce of tomorrow?
Stephanie, that is exactly how we should be thinking about it. And instead of trying to master every tool or platform, there's a new one that comes out every week. The real shift is learning how to think differently about the work. So, in typical Queens of Commerce fashion, we're going to kick this off with a 2-minute drill. Steph, start.
Okay, so we're going to go back and forth on a series of questions about this exact topic to prime us for today. So the first one, Shannon, is what are skills that matter more today than they did 5 years ago?
Steph, as I think about it and I think about how we operate on a day-to-day basis, it's all about having a flexible mindset and collaboration. The key is making sure that you're communicating across every aspect of your business to drive the best result.
I couldn't agree more.
So for you, what's one shift happening right now that leaders you think are underestimating?
I think they're underestimating the role that AI is really going to play in their future workforce. It's going to play in sort of how they drive efficiency and from both a cost and just a sheer output perspective. So Shannon, for you, do you think AI then is making our jobs easier or is it just making it faster?
I think it's both now, but AI is only as good as the people that are providing input. So I think we get really enamored with this thought of how AI is going to save time, money, and effort, but it's really untested out there. So it remains to be seen where we're going to end up with this. What about you? So as you think about the business, what's one thing people still misunderstand about social commerce?
I still think that the industry as a whole is thinking about social commerce through this lens that it's, again, your typical social amplification or it's just TikTok shop. The reality is social commerce is becoming one of the largest fulfillment channels. It was just shared in the last week or so that TikTok Shop is now rivaling from a big box retailer in terms of fulfillment, like number 8 in digital fulfillment.
So the conversation at dinner is how much I'm buying off TikTok Shop. And I will tell you, the products are good. The customer service is phenomenal. And I'm getting all my stuff really quick. So I believe it for sure.
Okay, last question. What is the biggest reinvention commerce leaders need to take right now?
I think everyone needs to stop looking at things in silos. It is all one continuous opportunity to connect with shoppers and consumers. And if we think in the context of this is my shopper budget, this is my retail media budget, this is my activation budget, that all has to be utilized in the way that holistically drives your objective. You can't think about it as one discipline. It all needs to be equally important.
Yeah, well, and I couldn't agree more, and I think the territorial land grab mentality has to stop. And I do think that a little bit of that is transformational change that brands need to grab by the horns and really embrace.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, so let's move into our first truth of this topic of reinventing ourselves in commerce. It's really that the industry just isn't evolving. The entire model of commerce is shifting. And so for years, we've talked about commerce through this lens of we're just going to add another channel. We'll add retail media, then we'll add social. But what's happening right now is bigger than that. We're moving into this realm of connected commerce environment where discovery, influence, media, and transactions are happening in completely different ecosystems. A consumer might actually discover that product on TikTok, hear about it from a creator, see an ad later on a retailer.com, and then eventually days later go to purchase that on Amazon. From the consumer's perspective, the journey feels seamless, but internally, most organizations are still structured in these silos. The brand teams, the media teams, the commerce teams, the e commerce teams are all sitting in different areas of the organization, not talking to each other.
Well, and like, let's be honest, they're not getting any more money, right? So, like, budgets are not getting better. So, there's a ton of friction out there. Media strategy might be strong, but the product page is weak. The conversation completely drops and you miss the opportunity to make a sale. Your content might be compelling, but if pricing or inventory isn't aligned, the campaign's going to underperform. So it's finding that right mix and that right communication to ensure everything's working together. These commerce leaders end up working across products, supply chain, content, pricing, promotions, and media all at once, but also kind of separately. So it's not really a channel anymore. It's becoming an operating system for how brands grow. And it's about a holistic approach. Again, as I said earlier, breaking down the silos and just at it as one holistic opportunity to make a sale.
Absolutely. Okay. So the second truth that we have in reinventing commerce is AI is compressing the speed of work. So things that used to take teams hours or days are now happening in minutes. Talk about creative variation, campaign builds and platforms, bid optimization and performance analysis. All of this is increasingly automated. And so how our teams are spending their time is changing. And so that means the nature of the job, what we hired for 2 years ago is not the nature of the job that we're going to hire for tomorrow.
Yeah. And I just think it's, commerce used to be so heavy on execution. Teams were spending time building campaigns, adjusting bids, they're pulling reports, they're re-strategizing the campaigns, they're rebuilding the campaigns, and all of this, including optimization of performance, is being done or was being done manually. But when AI starts to handle those layers, the role of those individuals and the role of the leaders shift. So you don't spend your day executing. You're designing the system that executes. You're deciding what inputs matter, what guardrails exist, and what strategies you should prioritize. It's a completely different leadership skill. Not everybody is prepared for it. It's changing overnight.
I know. And I just don't feel that the industry is not embracing it fast enough. I think we're in a unique position of our leadership team really challenging us. But when I'm having conversations with brands and friends and other agencies, I'm not seeing the same level of rapid adoption.
No, and I think our company in particular is investing a ton of time, money, and effort to understand it. And they are forcing, I say force from a positive perspective, they are forcing us all to use it and to adapt our work style to utilize it and figure out how it can save us time. And then how do we move on to the next thing? How do we become better strategic leaders? Because we don't have to worry about being in the weeds anymore.
Exactly. Okay, so our last truth of what's reinventing commerce is social commerce. And social commerce is, in my opinion, fundamentally changing how demand is being created. For years, social platforms were always put in the awareness bucket of I'm on Meta, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Snapchat to create visible and awareness of your products, of your brands. And, the brand teams ran them. They built audiences and they hoped and prayed that they'd eventually go somewhere else to convert. But that model has completely changed and it's changed very quickly.
Change very quickly. I think consumers are discovering products and brands in a different way. They're researching, they're validating, they're identifying their interest, and they're sometimes purchasing these products within these social platforms. We talked about my recent TikTok shop addiction earlier. But these creators are influencing these purchase decisions in real time, and the content itself has become the discovery engine. We've talked about it before. My kids don't use Google. My kids use ChatGPT and they use TikTok if they need to, find something. Reagan's got to plug a hole in her dorm room so she doesn't get charged when she moves out. She found the product on TikTok. She learned how to do it and she fixed it herself. Creators are influencing purchase decisions in real time. Content itself has become the discovery engine. So instead of just running campaigns, brands need to build creator ecosystems, content pipelines, and integrated storefronts. Social isn't just about marketing anymore. It's becoming a commerce engine.
Let's think about this a little bit. Like, to your point, you said Reagan is using ChatGPT and is using TikTok as the point of discovery. My stepdaughter Olivia came to me the other day and said she wasn't going to try a product because TikTok told her that it was bad. Like, I mean, so like something that would naturally like would be in the consideration set went out of the consideration set because TikTok told her so.
Well, like, listen, these kids are not reading reviews on Amazon, right? Like, remember 2 years ago, we used to talk about how Amazon was the greatest influencer of purchases because of their ratings and reviews. These kids are not reading the reviews on Amazon.
They're listening to the TikTok reel that told her that that product was good or bad or the experience they had with it. And if it was a bad experience and you watched 5 reels and only one was bad, but you like that creator better than the other 4, like, I'm sorry, brand, you're not going to get bought.
The funniest thing about it, though, Steph, is when I say, like, okay, so you don't like that product, explain that to me again. And well, I saw this TikTok and they said it wasn't a good product. I'm like, okay, well, what are the facts? And they're like, well, the facts, Sophie on TikTok doesn't like it. I'm like, that's not a fact.
Yeah, I know. But that is the reality.
There is so much that these consumers of the social media put into the importance of the opinions of others. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's talk about our hot take for the week. And the hot take of the week is AI isn't going to replace commerce leaders, but it's going to replace the average ones. Okay, I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but it is actually what we're starting to see happen in the industry right now.
Well, the reality is AI is automating a lot of the tasks that used to differentiate people. How fast can you hustle and get a project completed? Campaign builds, bid optimization, reporting, creative testing. You don't get credit for that stuff anymore because it's about to be replaced.
Yeah. So the value of the role changes. To your point, like execution becomes table stakes. Your ability to flawlessly execute no longer gets to be your gold star of, your point of differentiation or recognition within the organization because AI is doing that on behalf of you. So the value now is judgment in strategy and pattern recognition and understanding what the data means and how and where you should use that to take the business to the next step or the next phase.
And I think the leaders who adapt to use AI to move faster, make smarter decisions, and push their teams to do the same because not their teams are uncomfortable with it. Those are the ones who will still operate like the work hasn't changed, right? So, but you'll get better work, you'll get it faster, and you sort of have this third party auditing what you're doing and giving you advice, right?
Yeah. And so AI isn't raising the floor, but it's certainly raising the bar. So the real invention for commerce leaders isn't about learning a new tool. It's about learning how to lead in a world where systems are faster than the people that are using them.
I agree 100%. Well, that's the end of our episode this week. Thanks for joining the Queens of Commerce.
And we can't wait for you to join us next time and see how we're going to reshape the future together.